So I was reading an article or something online, or it was a video, I think. And you know how they post videos on social media, maybe Instagram or YouTube, and there'll be comments right under it, right? So someone had done something. I really don't remember what the video was about, but I remember there was this guy that said something like, oh my god, that person is completely crazy. Somebody needs to take that person to a shrink. And obviously that prompted this video, because obviously a lot of people still think going to see a shrink is for people that are mad. A shrink is like a therapist. Do you understand? A shrink, because I wanted to be a shrink. That was my lifelong dream, to actually be a shrink. So a shrink is a therapist. A shrink is like a counselor, like somebody that does marriage counseling. So this person counsels you about life. So that's what a shrink is. Do you understand? A shrink is not somebody that treats mad people. And that actually prompted this video. So hi, welcome back to Isadora. It's really good to be back. Hope you're all having a good week. Okay, today is just as the topic said, and I know that when a lot of people see the topic, it's going to be like, what is wrong with her? Nobody who has a mental illness. But seriously, people still think that mental illness means somebody that has totally gone bad, but that's not true. A lot of people are experiencing some sort, no matter how mild, do you understand, and no matter how bad it is, do you understand, of mental illness. Now, mental illness actually spans across a variety, do you understand? Now, it could be anything. So before you freak out, please hear me out. Mental illness is just saying there's something going on up there. Do you understand? I mean, the extreme version would be somebody that has actually gone mad. But it doesn't have to get to that. It's the little things, you understand, that can be considered mental illness, but has absolutely nothing to do with madness. Let's look at insomnia, for instance, right? So insomnia is somebody that isn't able to get sleep. Now, like I said, mental illness just means there's probably, you're worried, there's stress, do you understand, you're placing so much upon yourself, do you understand? Then, like a disease is a body that is not at ease. So mental illness is mentally something is up, do you understand? You're not 100%. So somebody that is going through insomnia, I'm not talking about somebody that could not sleep for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. I'm talking about somebody with a consistent, do you understand, pattern of not being able to sleep. It could be due to stress, it could be due to anxiety, it could be due to worry, whatever it is. Do you understand? So it's some sort of very, very mild mental illness, because that person is suffering from insomnia, and they are unable to sleep. So take amnesia, for instance. That's like forgetting things. Now, again, I'm not talking about somebody that has forgotten 1 or 2 things. I'm talking about somebody that has gone through a consistent pattern of forgetting things that they would normally remember. Do you understand? It means forgetfulness. Something is going on up there. Take depression, for instance. Maybe somebody just broke up with their partner, or somebody experienced a loss, job loss or whatever, and they go into depression. That's not what I'm saying. Everybody is allowed to go through their bouts of sadness, right? I'm talking about somebody with a consistent pattern of depression. And I'm not talking about ordinary depression like I'm not happy. I'm talking about depression like people have to do like a suicide watch over that person. So that person is going through depression. It's a mild version of mental illness. So when people say mental illness, everybody goes, oh my god. Just like somebody that is totally mad. But no, it's always good to highlight these things, and I think that's why I have this channel, so that we can highlight it. People are going through stuff, and so most of the time, this is why we have to be good to people. This is why we have to be kind to people, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they suffer from. And unfortunately, there are some societies, do you understand, that they don't appreciate these things. Like, I think I'm using the wrong word. They don't attach a lot of relevance to these things. Do you understand? You can see a woman beautifully dressed, do you understand, and she goes to see a shrink, or she's saying she needs to talk to a shrink or whatever, do you understand? Everybody's like, but you look okay, what's wrong with you? Because people think abuse is until you actually see a scar or a black eye. People think abuse is until you actually get raped. No, some people look like they're normal, like they're walking everyday life, but they are being mentally, emotionally abused, which is 10 times worse, because it can lead to mental illness. It can lead to depression. It can get severe. Do you understand? It can become a problem if these things are not looked into. But because a lot of people, the information is not out there enough, so a lot of people is not highlighted enough, so people don't know. Usually people just think, oh, you're being abused. Oh, you don't have a scar. Oh, you've not been raped. Those are the only types of abuse. No. Sometimes the abuse is not visible, and that's when it's a lot more traumatizing. So a lot of people have had traumatic experiences. They haven't had time to talk to anybody. I understand, in the society, don't tell people your problems, don't tell people this, don't tell people that. Do you understand? But that's the whole point of shrinks. Shrinks are supposed to be people, like people you don't know, that you can confide in. Now there's doctor-patient confidentiality, people that you can talk to. Now you're talking to an unbiased. It's like marriage counseling. You want to get married, you go for counseling, right? And you people talk about it. Or you're having issues in marriage and you go for marriage counseling and you people talk about it. It's the same thing. So you're going through a loss, you're going through pain. You talk. Therapy is the best form of therapy. You need to talk to somebody. But unfortunately, some societies value silence in terms of don't tell people your problems. Fine, I mean, you shouldn't. That's the truth. If you want to stay alive, you shouldn't really tell people what's going on with you or what's going on in your life or what you're about to do. However, there's got to be that unbiased person that you don't know, that it's like a contract thing. There's like doctor-patient confidentiality. You can confide in them. Do you understand? And the person is unbiased because they don't know you. They can't trace you. They are not allowed legally to release your information to anybody. Do you understand? So it's always good to talk about things. Do you understand? And that's how people heal. But because a lot of people just pad things, imagine a generator, right, that can only power a section of, maybe that can only power bulbs and the sockets or whatever, and then you put a washing machine on it, you put air conditioners on it, you're going to slow down the performance. And that's how human beings are. We're like machines. Do you understand? When you put so much baggage, do you understand, you will slow down that person's performance. That person's performance in their agility, their happiness, do you understand? It would slow it down. So we always have to learn to lighten our load by true talking. Talk therapy is absolutely the best form of therapy. Now, if you're living in a society that does not appreciate those kind of things, then you have a lot of people walking around with baggages. And you wonder why people misbehave or why people act in certain ways. And you're like, why is that person acting like that? Because they're going through so much, but they don't know and they can't talk to anybody about it. And these things lead to like personality disorders. So I like to highlight these things. So don't fall victim into certain situations. If you are going through some sort of mental issue or whatever, and there's no one to talk to, I mean, go to your place of worship. If you're not really ready to confide in anybody. But however, I like to highlight this personality disorder. So when you do come across it, sometimes even the people don't know. Do you understand they have it? Sometimes they do. Do you understand? Sometimes they don't know they have some sort of personality disorder. You're able to highlight it. You're able to even know if this sort of person is somebody you should be around, or this sort of person is someone you should stay away from for your own safety and for your own well-being, for your own sanity. So let's quickly go through it. I'm looking at the time and I'm way past time. So let's quickly go through the types of personality disorders. The first one is the borderline personality disorder. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. So because, like I said, because of time, I'm quite mindful. Borderline personality disorder, BPD. So these are people that are generally very, very, very aggressive towards others. These are people that have unprovoked mood swings. 1 minute, you have to constantly walk on eggshells around them. You don't know if they're happy, you don't know if they're sad, you don't know if you say something that would trigger, do you understand, some sort of scream. You don't know. They just go through mood swings. They're not really necessarily experiencing anything. They just go through mood swings. Then they have like really erratic behaviors. Do you understand? They do things unexplainably. Like, do you understand? It's not explainable anyway. And they're extremely aggressive towards others. Do you understand? So these are people going through like borderline personality disorders. Like I said, I can explain it further, but I just wanted to just point on it and highlight it. And if you are interested in it, I mean, it's something you can look up. The avoidant personality disorder. So these are not people that avoid their problems. They avoid other people. These are people that are afraid. They're so scared of rejection. They're so worried about what people think about them. So even when they have ideas, they don't put it out there. They are so worried that people will not like them. People might reject them. People might, do you understand? So they hide themselves away. They avoid life itself. Do you understand? They avoid being in public. They avoid just out of fear of rejection. Is the obsessive compulsive disorder. That's OCD. Now, I like to talk about this because a lot of people like to say, oh, I have OCD, I have OCD, because people believe that it means you're clean. No, I have OCD. Anybody want to swap? Seriously, and you see, as I've grown older, it's actually gotten a bit worse. Do you understand? So OCD is not something, cleanliness has to do with it, but it doesn't mean you're clean. What it is my own version, and I'm trying to be very quick, my own version of it is, basically I have to clean everywhere before I take my bath. Otherwise, once I take my bath, I literally can't put my leg on the floor. I can't do a lot of things. Do you understand? I literally can't put my leg on the floor. It feels dirty. Everywhere feels dirty. So what I do is, before I take my bath, if I have to change the sheets or do whatever it is, I do it very quickly before I take my bath. Because once I do, I'm like vegetative. I'm almost in a vegetative state. So I'm trying to wean myself off of it, but it's difficult. I can't sleep on people's beds. I can't, even my own clothes. Once it's like 4 months, 5 months, and I haven't worn it, I almost can't wear it. It's weird. Like, I can't sleep on people's beds. I don't use people's pillows. Now, moving into a house, you can imagine how difficult that would be, because it has to be a brand new house. If it's a house that hasn't just been built and people are already living in, I literally have to break down almost everything and rebuild this over again, which is difficult and expensive. So it's an expensive lifestyle. It's not, sometimes I want to eat something at a restaurant. I get to the restaurant and I can't even sit down there. I've actually had somebody accuse me once and say to me, oh, why'd you like to turn up your nose at things? I'm not turning up my nose. Unfortunately, I can't help it. You see, this is why it's good for people to be aware of these things, because so that people around you can help you as opposed to chastise you. I had this person like constantly barraging me, like, oh, why are you always standing up your nose? Will you say, go to a restaurant? We get to a restaurant, you can't enter. Yeah, why are you always trying to... I wasn't even trying to do anything. I envy the people that can just enter the restaurant and sit down. I can't always do that. Do you understand? So OCD is not something to play with at all. Do you understand? It's, like I said, it has to do with cleanliness, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're clean. So people think it's, oh, I'm so clean, I'm so neat, I have OCD. No, you don't want to have OCD. I can swap. Literally. Anyway, on to the next. So the next personality disorder is the dependent personality disorder. So these are people that have major fear of being alone. So they need a crowd. They need to be around people. They can't be by themselves. They can't, if their boyfriend breaks up with them, they're dying. Literally. If they have a fight with their friend, oh my God, they're going to die. They can't be by themselves. You understand? Now, like I said, it's always good for other people to be aware of these things so that you can help them, as opposed to chastise them, as opposed to look down on them, as opposed to treat them as though there's something wrong with them. Do you understand? It's not their fault, you know. So yeah, so these are people that need other people. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure they would love to do things by themselves, but what they wear, where they live, has to be other people's opinions. Do you understand? They totally depend on how other people feel and think about everything they do. Paranoid personality disorder. So these are people that are extremely suspicious of other people. Now, most of these personality disorders, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, can be caused through traumatic events or your lineage, your bloodline. Like if it's something that exists in the bloodline, do you understand? Then it's possible to have it. Or people may have experienced traumatic events, and after that, because they haven't gone through that talk therapy to talk to somebody about it, to heal through it, do you understand? They now start to experience what you call maybe like paranoid personality disorder. They're extremely suspicious of people, which you can't blame them if people have been nothing but, do you understand, horrible to them or whatever, or if they've had bad experiences. So that's a personality disorder, the schizotypal personality disorder. So this is somebody that sees strange things, maybe a little out of touch with reality. Do you understand? Sees strange things, kind of believes in all this out of space kind of thing, like believes in aliens and goblins and and all sorts. I'm not laughing. I'm just, you know, no, because my beliefs are wide. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Do you understand? I'm one of those people that if you can break something down scientifically, do you understand? Scientifically, then I can buy into it. So it doesn't matter how strange it is. I mean, if you can break it down and you make me understand it somewhat scientifically, then I mean, I may be able to buy into it. So someone that believes in like out of space and has strange fantasies and sees strange things and out of touch with reality. Next, now we're getting to the more dangerous types of personality disorders. So these ones are the more extreme ones. Okay, so the first one is the antisocial personality disorder. That's the APD. So antisocial does not mean, personality disorder does not mean somebody that doesn't go out. No, it's that sort of, they have no social etiquette. So these are people that can be sociopaths, psychopaths. Do you understand? When I say no social etiquette, they disregard rules and regulations. They disregard people's feelings. They disregard, you know how maybe like in a social gathering, do you understand? You're mindful of somebody having a conversation with you, you're mindful of other people's feelings or things you say. They're not. So, so these are like narcissists. These are like psychopaths. These are like sociopaths. They don't follow rules. They disregard people's feelings. They are manipulative, extremely. They are liars. They are, so the whole antisocial thing is not having proper social etiquette. It's like the way other people, okay, you want to be mindful of other people's feelings, you want to be mindful of what you do to other people, you want to be mindful of all those little things. They're not. So so that's antisocial personality disorder. Now it gets more dangerous because when we're talking about psychopathy, we're talking about somebody that can actually do anything bad, like take somebody's life and feel nothing. So that's pretty dangerous. Okay, so the next personality disorder is the narcissistic personality disorder. So this is something that I've actually based my channel on forever. So if you want to look at what narcissism is, you should actually look it up. But in short explanation, these are people that disregard other people's feelings. These are people that are highly manipulative. These are the people that will break the law to get what they want. These are the people that seek constant attention. These are the people, very dangerous, very, very dangerous. These are not people you should be around at all. But the funny thing is, they always seem to get their way because they're highly manipulative, like I said. So most of the time, before the damage would have been done, before you actually realize who and what you have in your life. So finally, the final one is the histrionic personality disorder. So these are people, they're actually like narcissists. They love attention. They like to get the constant attention. However, these are people that get very, very depressed when they don't get it. I'm not talking about small depression. I'm talking about will go to any length to get attention. So these are people that will go to any length to get his attention. I'm not talking about small depression. No, I'm talking about people that will go into major depression, can't get out of bed for weeks. Once they don't get attention, they will do anything. They will walk around naked just to get his attention. So these are people with histrionic personality disorder. They need the constant praise. They need the constant validation. Like narcissists, only that they're not as manipulative as narcissists. That a narcissist will just manipulate you and you give them the praise anyway. But they are more like they just get depressed. They need the attention. They need the validation. Like I said, all these disorders is not something that is anybody's fault. Do you understand? This is why people need to be aware, do you understand, of this thing, so that when you notice somebody acting out of character, sometimes it's not necessarily. Sometimes it's not something they're necessarily doing intentionally. Do you understand? So it's always good to be aware of this thing, so you know how to be, as a friend or a family member, how to be there for them, how to stand by them, and how to help them overcome it. These are things that can be overcome through, do you understand, that you can overcome. Anyway, these are things that you can overcome through time, especially through talking to the right people and through the right support system. So do have a beautiful, 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 beautiful week. I love you all. Have a beautiful week ahead. Love you. Stay blessed. Namaste. Bye.